It is July, and your hostas have stopped looking like the photos. The edges are going brown and papery. Something has chewed the leaves into lace. The whole clump looks tired, flopping, a little defeated by the heat. And you are standing there wondering whether you are losing them. So, let me give you the good news first, and I mean it. Almost everything that scares people about hostas in July is cosmetic. Hostas are famously tough plants. Scorched edges do not kill them. Slug holes do not kill them. A tired-looking clump in August is not a dying clump. Every one of those problems looks far worse than it is, and the plant comes back next spring like nothing happened. But here is what almost nobody tells you. There is one thing that will kill a hosta. Kill it outright, root and crown, and take its neighbors with it. And it does not announce itself by ruining the leaves. It starts down at the bottom, at the soil line, where you never look. By the time the leaves are collapsing flat on the ground, it is already too late for that plant. And here is the cruel part. This particular killer wakes up when the soil gets warm, and it hits its stride at temperatures between 86 and 95 degrees. In other words, right now. July is its season, and there is no fungicide you can spray that will cure it once it has taken hold. None. Your only defense is knowing what it is, spotting it early, and not having invited it in yourself, which, and I am sorry to tell you this, most gardeners quietly do every single spring. That is mistake number 3. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly how to spot it in about 10 seconds. There are 5 mistakes people make with hostas in July. I am going to show you which ones are just ugly, which one is fatal, and exactly what to do about each. With the watering, the mulch, the timing, all of it spelled out. But first, you need one simple skill. It is how you tell a scare from an emergency. Let me show you. Here is the skill. When something is wrong with a hosta, do not ask what the damage looks like. Ask where the damage starts. That one question sorts everything. Because a hosta gives you 3 completely different kinds of trouble, and each one begins in a different place. If the damage starts at the outer edges of the leaves, browning and crisping inward, and it is worst on the side of the plant facing the sun, that is scorch. Cosmetic. The plant lives. If the damage is holes, chewed right through the middle of the leaves, with irregular ragged edges, that is slugs. Ugly. Also cosmetic. The plant lives. But if the damage starts at the bottom, if the lowest leaves are yellowing at their margins and browning, and something is going soft and mushy down at the base, where the leaf stalk meets the soil, then stop. That is not scorch. That is not slugs. That is the killer. And you need to act today. Here is the 10-second test I promised you, and it is beautifully simple. Take one of those yellowing lower leaves and give it a gentle tug. On a healthy hosta, that leaf resists. It is anchored. It does not want to come. But on a plant with crown rot, that leaf pulls away cleanly, right out of the crown. And when you look at the bottom of the stalk you just pulled, it is brown and soft and rotted through. A leaf that pulls away easily is the single most diagnostic sign there is. Remember that. Tug the leaf. Edges, cosmetic. Holes, cosmetic. Base, fatal. That is the whole framework, and everything else in this video hangs off it. And do me a favor. Drop a comment and tell me your state and your zone, and whether your hostas are in deep shade or getting some sun. Because the heat and humidity where you live decide exactly which of these 5 is coming for you hardest. Now, let us start with the one that scares everyone and hurts no one. Mistake number 1. Putting your hosta in more sun than it can handle, and then not adjusting your watering to match. This is the scorch, and it is far and away the most common complaint people have about hostas in July. Here is the signature, so you can identify it with confidence. Browning along the leaf margins, working inward. yellowing, or bleaching between the veins. The leaves go dry, brittle, papery. And critically, it is worst on the side of the plant that faces the sun, and worst on the most exposed leaves. If you have a blue hosta, you will see something else too. Those blue leaves go green because that gorgeous blue is actually a waxy coating on the surface, and strong sun and hot weather melt it right off. The plant is not sick, it has just lost its makeup. Here is the biology. Hostas are woodland plants. Their leaves evolved under a canopy, in dappled light, with cool, moist soil at their feet. Put those big, thin leaves in direct afternoon sun, and they lose water to the air faster than the roots can pull it up. Where the water cannot reach, the leaf tissue dries out and dies, starting at the margins, which are farthest from the water supply. Now here is the part that surprises people, and it is genuinely useful. Hostas can take more sun than you think, but only if you give them more water. Sun tolerance and water availability are linked, which means a scorched hosta is very often not really a sun problem at all. It is a water problem, revealed by sun. So before you go dig up a plant and move it, check your watering first. So here is the fix. If a hosta is scorching, the first move is more water, delivered properly, which is exactly the next mistake. The second move is shade during the fiercest part of the day. Morning sun with afternoon shade is the sweet spot, and dappled light all day is even better. If a plant is genuinely in blazing all-day sun, plan to move it in fall, when it is dormant, rather than in the middle of the July heat. And here is your reassurance. Scorched leaves are not coming back. They will stay scorched for the season. But the plant is not dying, and next spring it pushes out a brand new set of perfect leaves as if none of this ever happened. So the real question is how you water, and that is where most people go wrong. Mistake number 2, watering your hostas the wrong way. And there are two halves to this, and both of them feel completely reasonable while you are doing them. Watering too fast and watering from above. Let's take speed first. In the July heat, most people walk out with a hose or a watering can and give the hosta bed a quick, generous spray. 30 seconds a plant. It looks wet, it feels done, and it is almost useless. A fast spray wets the surface and runs off. It never soaks down to where the roots actually live. So the plant stays thirsty, the roots stay shallow, and the leaves scorch anyway. Here is the fix, and it is simple. Water long and slow, not fast and often. The most effective method by far is a soaker hose or a drip line snaked through the hosta bed, turned on for an hour or two at a time, a few times a week, depending on your rain and your heat. That slow trickle sinks deep and puts the water where the roots are. If you are using a hose or can, do it in slow passes, letting the water soak in rather than run off. Deep and infrequent beats, quick and daily every time. Now the second half, and this is the one that quietly causes real damage. Do not water your hostas from above. Do not spray the leaves. Here is why that matters so much. Wet foliage is an open invitation to nearly every serious hosta problem there is. Fungal diseases like anthracnose need warm, wet leaves to take hold and spread. Foliar nematodes, those microscopic worms that leave brown stripes between the veins, literally need a film of moisture to travel from leaf to leaf. And slugs, who we will get to shortly, absolutely love a damp bed at night. So every time you spray the canopy, you are creating exactly the conditions all three of them require. So water at the base of the plant, aimed at the soil, and water in the morning so anything that does get splashed dries in the day. Never in the evening, because that leaves the foliage damp all night, which is when the slugs come out and the fungi go to work. And there is one more reason to keep water off the crown and out of the soggy zone. Because standing water at the base of a hosta feeds the killer we are about to talk about. Which brings us to mistake number 3, the one that actually kills the plant. Now, mistake number 3. This is the one in the title. This is the one that kills the plant, and it has a name. Sclerotium crown rot, also called petiole rot, or southern blight. It is caused by a soil-borne fungus, and it is the single most destructive disease a hosta can get. Here is why July is its season. This fungus lives quietly in the soil and in your mulch, waiting. It wakes up once soil temperatures climb above 70 degrees, and it hits its absolute peak between 86 and 95 degrees, which is to say, it is at maximum strength right now, in the hottest, most humid weeks of your summer. It is not a coincidence that your hostas are collapsing in July. This thing has been waiting all year for exactly this weather. Here is how it kills. The fungus attacks the plant right at the soil line, at the crown, and rots the base of the petioles, the leaf stalks. So the damage travels bottom to top. First, the lowest leaves yellow at their margins and brown. Then they discolor entirely and wilt. And in the final stage, the bases of those petioles rot away completely, and the leaves collapse and lie flat on the ground, in a ring around the plant, like the whole thing just gave up. And now, your 10-second test. Tug one of those yellowing lower leaves. If it pulls away cleanly from the crown, with no resistance, and the bottom of the stalk is brown and soft and mushy, you have found it. Then look closer, down at the soil right at the base, and pull back the mulch. There are 2 more signs, and they are unmistakable. First, a fluffy, fan-like white mat of fungus spreading out across the soil from the crown. Some people describe it as white mold, and it can have a mushroomy smell. Second, and this is the clincher, small round fungal bodies about the size of mustard seeds scattered at the base of those petioles. They start out cream white and they mature to a dark tan or a brick red. Those are called sclerotia, and they are survival capsules. They can sit in your soil for years. Now, the hard truth. No fungicide applied after infection will cure this. Let me repeat that, because people spend real money getting it wrong. Once this disease is active in a plant, no registered fungicide clears it. Spraying is a waste. Your only weapon is removal. So here is what you do, and do it the day you find it. Dig up and destroy the infected plant. And here is the part almost everyone skips, which is why it comes back. Remove the soil and the wood mulch for 6 to 8 inches all around that plant, and take it out with the plant. Bag it all, seal the bag, and put it in the trash. Never compost it. Then backfill with fresh, clean soil. And sanitize your tools, your spade, your gloves, before you touch another hosta, because this fungus travels on contaminated tools, and one infected crown can seed several others in the same bed in a single season. Now, the prevention. And this is the part where I have to tell you something uncomfortable. Most gardeners invite this fungus in themselves, every spring, with an act of kindness. Mulch. The fungus lives in your mulch and the top inch of soil. So when you spread mulch generously, right up against the base of the plant, packed against those petioles, you have laid the fungus a warm, damp bed against the exact tissue it wants to eat. So mulch your hostas, yes, but pull it back. Keep it a few inches clear of the crown and the stems. Every year. That single habit is the best protection you have, and the rest of prevention is what we have already covered. Do not let that crown sit in soggy soil, because the fungus spreads readily through waterlogged ground. Keep water off the base. Clean your blades between plants. One last useful note. Some varieties are genuinely less susceptible. Halcyon, honeybells, snow mountain, and tall twister hold up better. And a few, including lemon lime, munchkin, and platinum tiara, are the ones to avoid if this disease has ever visited your garden. Now, let's talk about the pest that terrifies everyone and kills nothing. Mistake number 4. Slugs. And there are actually 2 mistakes here. Opposite ones. Ignoring them completely and panicking about them as though they were a mortal threat. Here is the signature, and it is unmistakable. Large, irregular holes chewed right through the middle of the leaves, not the edges. Ragged, torn-looking margins. And, if you look closely in the morning light, silvery slime trails across the foliage and the soil. You will almost never catch them in the act, because they feed at night and hide during the day, tucked into soil crevices, under rocks and boards, and in exactly the mulch we were just talking about. So here is the honest perspective first. Slug damage is genuinely ugly. It can shred a prize hosta into lace in a couple of weeks. But it is cosmetic. Slugs do not kill hostas. The plant photosynthesizes through the leaf it has left and comes back clean next spring. So the goal is management, not panic. And here is the biology that gives you your best weapon. Slugs require a damp environment to survive. They are soft-bodied, they dry out easily, and everything they do is organized around moisture, which means you have already met the single most effective slug control there is, and it is not a product. It is when you water. Stop watering in the evening. Water in the morning, at the base, so the bed and the foliage are dry by nightfall when the slugs come out to feed. A dry bed at midnight is a hostile bed. That one change does more than any trap. Then, if you need more, the classic tools work. Beer traps, a shallow dish sunk to soil level, which lures them in overnight. Diatomaceous earth or crushed eggshells scattered as a barrier, which shreds their soft bodies, though both need reapplying after rain. And clean up their hiding places, the boards, the debris, the thick mulch piled right against the plants, and the smartest long-term fix of all. Plant thick-leaved varieties. Slugs struggle to chew through the heavy, substantial foliage of hostas like Blue Angel and Brother Stefan. The thin, delicate-leaved ones get eaten first, every time. Choose your plants and half this problem disappears. So, slugs are a nuisance, handled with timing. Now, the last mistake, which is about fighting a battle that is not happening at all. Mistake number 5. Fighting your hosta's summer slowdown instead of letting it happen. Because by late July, a hosta simply looks tired. The color dulls. Some leaves yellow. The whole clump loses that fresh, crisp look it had in June. And people see that and reach for the 3 worst possible tools: the shovel, the fertilizer, and the shears. Here is what is actually going on. Hostas are cool weather woodland plants. In serious summer heat, they naturally slow down, and some varieties begin easing toward dormancy early. That is not failure. That is the plant conserving itself. But here is the important part, and it is why this mistake matters. A heat-stressed, slowing hosta is a more vulnerable hosta. Its defenses are down, which makes it a far easier target for the crown rot we talked about in mistake 3. So anything you do that adds stress in July stacks the deck against it. So let's take the 3 tools, one at a time. The shovel. Do not divide or transplant hostas in July. I know a tired clump looks like it wants attention, but digging it up in the heat, cutting its roots apart, and asking it to reestablish while temperatures are in the 90s is genuinely dangerous. Hostas divide beautifully in spring as they emerge, or in late summer into early fall as things cool. Wait for one of those windows. It costs you nothing but patience. The fertilizer. Do not feed a heat-stressed plant. Fertilizer is mineral salts, and pushing salts into the soil around a plant that is barely drinking will burn its roots and scorch its leaf edges, which is exactly the symptom you were trying to fix. If you feed hostas at all, do it in spring, as the shoots come up, with a slow-release fertilizer. Never as a July rescue. And the shears. Do not cut off the tired, yellowing leaves. This one is the most tempting, because a tidy gardener wants the bed to look sharp. But those leaves, even the sad-looking ones, are still photosynthesizing, still sending energy down into the crown, and that stored energy is exactly what builds next spring's flush. Cut them off now, and you are robbing next year to make this week look neater. Leave them until frost knocks them down in fall, then clean up. The exception, of course, is any leaf that is actually diseased. Those come off and go in the trash. So a tired hosta in July does not need you to intervene. It needs you to leave it alone. And that is really the whole lesson. Let me pull it together. Before we finish, do one thing for me. Think of one person you know with a beautiful shade garden, someone who has never heard of crown rot, who mulches right up against their hostas every spring, because that is what you are supposed to do. Send them this video, just the link. It might save their whole bed. Now let me pull all 5 together, because they are not 5 separate rules. They are 3 disciplines. The first is reading the plant correctly. Damage at the edges is scorch. Holes in the middle are slugs. Both are ugly, and both are survivable. But damage starting at the base, with leaves that pull away clean and mushy, is the killer. Tug the leaf. 10 seconds. That is the most valuable thing in this video. The second discipline is watering low and slow. Long, deep soaks at the base, never a quick spray over the top. Because water on the leaves feeds the fungus, moves the nematodes, and calls in the slugs, and water in the evening does all 3 at once. Morning, at the soil, slowly. And the third discipline is keeping the crown clear and dry. Pull that mulch back off the base of every hosta you own, and do it today. Do not let the crown sit in soggy ground. Clean your tools between plants. And in the heat, put the shovel, the fertilizer, and the shears away, because a stressed hosta needs less from you, not more. Read it right. Water it low. Keep the crown clear. Do those 3, and your hostas walk out of July fine and come back next spring as if nothing ever happened. And listen, a hosta bed is the quiet backbone of a shade garden. Those clumps live for decades. They get bigger and better every year, in the dark, difficult corners where nothing else will grow, asking almost nothing of you in return. The hosta by your north wall could easily outlive the person who planted it. That is worth 10 seconds with a leaf and 5 minutes with a rake, pulling the mulch back. So subscribe and stick around. We do this the honest way here in the Forgotten Knowledge Library. Real horticulture, exact amounts, and we tell you straight when something is just a myth and when something genuinely cannot be cured. It is free, and it always will be. Next time, another plant, another summer problem nobody explains properly until it is too late. Now go out to your hostas, tug a low leaf, and then pull that mulch back off the crown. I will see you in the next one.